Today on Council Conversations, we have David McClain. And David is in his first term on the council, and congratulations on that,
Thank you.
first of all. And second of all, you've been around just long enough to get a good feel for this job. Tell me how it's turning out that maybe you didn't see, and what's what you thought it was, and what's maybe not what you thought it was.
I think the big thing that was what I thought it was would be getting in here and serving the people of Jonesboro. I mean, I knew that was what we were going to do. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So, I knew what to expect in that regard. Things I didn't expect were maybe gosh, what I can't even think of a word right now, but shucks. God, what did I not expect? Maybe the time commitment that is there. There's a big time commitment from depending on how hot of a topic there is. Then
Right.
You have to number one, prepare before you come to meetings. That preparation will result hopefully in you knowing what to expect, what not to expect. But I would say that time component was probably the biggest piece because you always have access. People always want to access you and all that kind of stuff.
You know, the thing about city council meetings in Arkansas is not, it may not be unique, but it is not universal that different council members can't speak to one another outside of meetings on topics. So when it unfolds here, it's unfolding. It's like real life. People are getting to watch this debated for the first time, or considered all together for the first time. And I think sometimes that might make it appear a little bit awkward, but you guys have to do your homework before you show up.
Right.
And you have to feel your constituents out.
Right.
Tell me what you do before it, first and third Tuesdays is when council meetings are at 5:30 with committee meetings before that. But what do you do before your Tuesday
The
meeting?
big thing is, again, preparing, make sure I'm reading the ordinances, making sure if it's an ordinance or resolution, making sure I may go back and watch committee meetings if I'm not in that committee and try and understand what happened, why it was forwarded to full council, some of the discussion that took place around that. But having that knowledge and then going and doing my own homework as far as what are some other cities may be doing in the same realm. If it's dealing with sidewalks, if it's dealing with design standards like we've implemented now, whatever it is, going back and doing my homework and understanding why the reasons were given to implement some of those things.
Right. What is your vision of what Jonesboro should be? What are we doing well? What should we do better?
Yeah, good question. I think my vision is somewhere where people feel at home, that a place where young professional entrepreneurs decide to relocate here, not just us going out and recruiting manufacturing. I love manufacturing, but maybe we're the home office, right? We're the home office for a company or companies, and going out and making sure we can keep that talent here also. We have a gym in Arkansas State, so how can we keep a lot of those students here? I mean, if you look at what we're not doing, we're not keeping a lot of those students here. I mean, if you look at the MBA class that graduates, majority of the time you have over half of the students leave. They don't stay here. So that's what I would say we're doing that we need to improve on is how can we keep our students here who are the business leaders, are going to be the future business leaders. How can we keep them here? We need to improve that.
Well, one of the assets I think you bring to the council is the fact that you work at Arkansas State University. This is a strength that you bring. You bring Arkansas State to the table, and we've been told time and again and are working to make sure that the city and Arkansas State University are good partners for one another. Mm-hmm. What is your was your position on that right now, and what can be done what is being done and what should be done to work on that?
I believe, we have to make sure that relationship is strong. I believe the city will go as ASU goes. So as the university continues to grow, continues to expand in research and things like that, I think the city will grow as well. if they don't have a relationship, a working relationship, then I truly feel that you'll see a decline, or you'll continue to see, because in the past there's been a rift between, I feel like, in the community and ASU, and we need to make sure that we understand we're married. So, in a sense, how we got to win together or we lose together, and it's not a difference. So we always have to walk together. Absolutely,
absolutely, and it's a wonderful university that has grown, and just as the city has grown through the years, and it's a beautiful asset to our community. I think, and this is just an opinion, so shoot me down if I need to be shot down. But it seems like there is a geographical barrier almost for students to downtown.
Yeah.
And I think there are some people working on ideas, but what have you seen that you like in making that connection?
So making a connection, yeah, I think there is a small barrier there. I think the big thing, the barrier that I see is looking at safety. Does it make sense in that we need to connect if we're going to connect our students to downtown, then we need to make sure we are where they are, and then funnel them that way, or vice versa. But I see that's the main barrier. Safety is the main concern. I mean, I think that's any time you are looking to expand, there's always that concern for, okay, is this the safest? Is this the best route? And so I think that's the main barrier right now, is that.
And I mentioned that you are an employee of Arkansas State University, but tell us what you do and how that gives you a good perspective when you come to the council.
Yeah, so I'm the executive director of our development office, so I fundraise, our major gift fundraise, so gifts of $25,000 or more, what I go out and work towards. And the way that I get to see impact, especially on students, is through scholarship. A lot of students, 40% of our students are first generation students. We have a big population of low-income students, so the support I get to go out and raise is helping those students get an education, go on and better themselves, and bringing that perspective of what do the students want, what do the students need to stay here. You get to hear a lot about that, as far as from professors, from the students themselves. And I hate to hear the conversation of, well, when I graduate, I'm leaving.
Right.
You know, we don't want Jonesboro to be a place where people leave, but we want this to be a place where people decide to live here.
Tell me some simple things and some complex things that can make that happen.
Gosh, I think simple things, a quality of life, just improving that as a whole. And you know, I've heard the phrase, we want to make this a cool city. I don't know what being cool is right now, but I would say looking at what are some things that we can do to attract, like I said earlier, the young people, the young entrepreneurs who want to build and want to grow. That's a very complex thing. It's not, I don't think one size fits all, because, and even if you do recruit entrepreneurs, you have to be able to understand that everyone won't make it. Every business won't make it. But I think those are some of the things that's a very complex, and it's a very complex problem, and it's a very complex, because if you look at one of the big problems, well, I would say it's where we are, but our household median income is not very high. It's not an affluent, we're not in an affluent area. I mean, our median income is still around $43,000. So we're still on the lower end. Our education level is not as high as well. So there are a lot of problems that I think city government can handle. I do think we could help in terms of bringing in, like I said, the higher paying jobs, but we have to recruit better.
What projects that are currently underway are you most excited about?
Projects, I would probably say the overpass on Highland, just because taking kids to school, I get stopped a lot of times by trains, and so I think that would be one of a big one.
Yeah, that's fundamental almost.
Yeah. So that's a really big one.
That goes into, like you said, quality of life, safety, even safety,
Yeah.
and just
And even looking at the
just
bike pedestrian plan, I think
Yeah.
that's another one.
Yeah.
You know, traffic's a big issue here, and one thing that would help ease traffic, I feel, would be if we had an improved biking connection.
Yeah.
Biking, you know, travel, complete streets has been
Right.
used. So sidewalks, walking and biking trails, things like that, that if they connect from a neighborhood to downtown or to the hospital or to schools, then it takes cars off the road. And I think that's the way we should, it will ease traffic.
Tell me, I guess the last thing I would ask you is, what do you think the people in your ward and in Jonesboro want to see from the city council?
I would say improved connectivity as well as improved drainage. I mean, that's a huge thing that we face, especially in my ward.
Yeah.
There's an area that I can vividly see off Race Street and Red Wolf where we've had a few instances of flooding, even off of Race Street. You know, there are areas where we need to improve that. So I would say that's probably, but that's more than likely. We have a lot of areas, unfortunately, like that. I mean, I probably get more calls about that than anything. So dealing with flooding, but also being able to connect different parts of the community to each other. I mean, we're
Yeah.
pretty spread out. If you look
We are spread out.
Yeah, very spread out. So if you look at how can someone walk from, like I said, their neighborhood to the store or to their job? You know, those are some things that people want to see us improve. So connectivity as a whole is
Very good.
yeah.
David, thank you for taking the time
Yes,
to
sir.
visit with us
Thank
on
you.
Council Conversation.
Thank you.